Before we get into this special weekend edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Mike Lindell at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98, for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. We continue today's show, and we're talking about something that's not always gets the attention that it deserves, the mental health and well-being of the men and women who put on the badge every single day. Here in the Upstate, law enforcement officers face tremendous pressure, long hours, high-stress situations, the kind of challenges that most of us never see, nor can we imagine. Now there's a new effort underway to make sure they and their families have the support they need, not just in moments of crisis, but throughout the year. Joining me now is Theresa Thompson, Chief Operating Officer of Upstate Warrior Solution, an organization that's been on the front lines of helping veterans and first responders transition, connect, and thrive here in the community. Theresa, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Yes, thank you very much, Joey. Glad to be here.
Before we dive into this new initiative, Theresa, let's take a moment to understand the mission behind Upstate Warrior Solution. For those who may not be familiar, give us a snapshot of what Upstate Warrior Solution is about and what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. So Upstate Warrior Solution, headquartered right here in the upstate of South Carolina. We've been around since about 2012, seeing veterans and their families with a variety of wraparound services. So we do anything from employment to recreation to spiritual connections. We have a spiritual program, family services program, pretty active justice-involved veteran program. And that's just to name a few of our programs. And those were specifically designed to help veterans and their family members. And then about 5 years ago, we saw a need. Several of us working here today are also first responders or were first responders, and we started to see the parallels of needs. We also saw our veteran friends in the community are offered a lot of resources through the VA, vet centers, a lot of community organizations. So we were able to look and say, hey, why are we not doing some of those same things for first responders? They experience trauma and stress and rotating shifts, sleep cycle disturbances, all sorts of things. You can imagine all the things, just the career stress alone. And then you add to it critical incidents that they are exposed to throughout their careers. Why are we not doing something more for first responders? So we at Upstate Warrior Solutions started serving police, fire, and EMS about 5 years ago. It's been a little more difficult because we have to create programs. We have to create resources because we don't have bigger organizations like VAs who can step in and help. So a lot of what we're doing, we're trying to mirror for our first responder population, a lot of the things that we're doing for our veterans.
Yeah. And you know, Theresa, I've talked a lot about this, talked with a lot of law enforcement officers over the years, and we think about our military and those brave men and women. They keep our country safe. They, travel all around the world. In a lot of cases, though, and not to take anything away from what they do, but, they may serve 4 years or 6 years, or some may make a career out of it, 20, 25 years. But typically it's not that. But police officers, a lot of them have 20, 30-year careers, and they're facing that almost like combat situations every single day. I mean, the stress level, every time they pull a car over, every time they go out on a call, they have that stress level that military has during combat, but not just on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, and a lot of the reason our first responder program started was because a lot of veterans were saying, hey, what are we going to do for these first responders? I am one now. Yeah. And I've realized the stress that I have being a police officer was greater on a daily basis for 12-hour shifts than sometimes some folks in the military. So some of those veterans came to us and said, we've got to do more. And I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
25 years is the least, but now it's 28 years in the state of South Carolina. Mm-hmm. I think it's even longer for fire, maybe 30. But you have to serve 28 years now to get your retirement. And I'm telling you that, you have to really respect and honor those that are able to show up every single day and stick it out for that long.
Yeah.
Through all the things that we see, luckily in the state of South Carolina and the Upstate, there's a lot of support for law enforcement. That's not the case across the country. But I think most people don't really have a very good understanding of what police actually do. They really don't. They think they do. They see them driving in their cars. They think they just pull people over maybe and give tickets, or they see them sitting on the side of the road. They really have no idea what happens at 2 o'clock in the morning. They have no idea that officer is responding by themselves to a fight involving multiple people.
Yeah.
And they may be the only person there for a good few minutes trying to figure out how to resolve it. And I just don't think the general public just doesn't really have a good idea of what's happening within law enforcement.
Yeah, I agree with you with that. Theresa Thompson is my guest today. She's Chief Operating Officer of Upstate Warrior Solution. They do great work over there. Check them out online, upstatewarriorsolution.org, upstatewarriorsolution.org. So let's talk more about this new initiative and talk with us about the Stay With Me Wellness Fund. And how did this partnership with Lead Upstate come together?
Yes, so Stay With Me was a phrase borrowed from a Greenville City police officer, Mauricio, who was talking about it one day, and it really resonated with all of us. He said, we respond to calls for service all the time. We to strangers often say the word, stay with me, man, whether it's in the back of an ambulance, whether they're on the side of the bridge, whether they're just going through a rough time. But how often are these law enforcement officers, in this particular case, saying it to each other and to themselves? And for us, that was really a powerful thing. I'm a proud member of the Lead Upstate Committee. And for years, Seabrook Marchant and team have really done a phenomenal job. And I know, Joey, you're a part of it as well, and you've seen it firsthand. The line of gratitude every year that happens in September, the community comes together and says, we're going to show Greenville County area. So anybody that's a law enforcement officer in Greenville County, we're going to show you. We're not just going to say it. We're going to show you how much we value, appreciate, and respect your service. And we've done that by giving them items and gift bags and raffles, and they love that. So this year, the Lead Committee said, we want to continue to do that. We want to show them we appreciate them. And at the same time, we want to be a part of their lives 365 days a year. So we said, how do we do that? How do we get a little more involved in helping support some of our law enforcement officers? So we have the Lead Committee created the Stay With Me Wellness Program. We've got one sponsor looking for another, but within that, we're able to connect them to counseling free. Some departments have EAPs, some don't, and those are employee assistance programs. Some officers don't want to use them for specific things. You really have to have counselors who understand trauma. These guys and gals, trust people who understand trauma and who have walked that life basically before. So we connect them to a therapist. We're able to pay for some sessions. We're creating some opportunities. We're mirroring it again after what we do on the veteran side. Roger C. Peace, the VA, they do a lot of great things in partnership with Upstate Warrior Solution on the physical side, whether it's rafting, whether it's skiing or snowboarding. And it gives us the opportunity to get veterans together to network. And we want to replicate some of that on the first responder side, because nobody's doing that for police. Nobody's doing it for first responders at all. Lead serves police. So we're able to now start to do some activities, events for first responders because of this initiative with Lead.
Yeah. And I want to mention, you mentioned that this is made possible by sponsors. Of course, the whole Lead Upstate program, Law Enforcement Appreciation Day in September, is made possible by our generous community. But I certainly want to thank CPI Security for being one of our inaugural sponsors for this program, because without their support, as you know, we'd not be able to do this. Theresa, let's kind of dig a little deeper here, and if you would, walk us through the program, what it provides, what kind of services can officers and their families expect to access, and for someone who maybe is listening today and thinking, well, that's for me. I need that. How do they get involved?
Yeah, so I'll do it. I'll do it talking directly to hopefully somebody that's listening. So if you're in Greenville County, now Upstate Warrior Solutions serves all first responders, but this partnership with LEAD, because LEAD serves Greenville County law enforcement officers. So if you're an officer in Greenville County and you're, experiencing, like you're getting the burnout stage, and I think everybody that's going to listen to this knows what I mean. You're getting to the point, should I stay? Should I stay in law enforcement? Well, we want you to stay.
Yeah.
We hope that you stay. We need you to stay. So if you're getting to that point where, maybe it was a specific call, maybe it's just the career stress, maybe it's combined family career, and you're thinking to yourself, I might need to just go talk to somebody. That's a little hard for people to admit. But one of the things that I try to tell people is that even the strongest among us need to reset, right? You need somebody to maybe help you hold that weight for just a minute, long enough for you to just catch your breath and get back in the game. So if that's you and you think, maybe I do need to talk to somebody, reach out to us at Upstate Warrior Solution. You can go to the LEAD website and you can see a little bit more about the program. But what we would do is we would connect you to a therapist, and the one that we connect to, and I think a lot of police, fire, EMS veterans know him, is Bob Gamble. Bob Gamble's retired from policing. He does something special, what I call special, because it really does work. He practices EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, and it's kind of a manual brain eye movement, and it's really, really, really successful with trauma.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those people that you're thinking, I really do need to talk to somebody, you can reach out to us, and then we'll do a full assessment here at Upstate Warrior Solution. Keith Dorman is our first responder program manager, so he would be the person kind of working directly with that person. We'll do the assessment. We'll be, as we move closer to the LEAD event in September, there'll be some opportunities where we're going to do some maybe family events. We might send you and your family somewhere for the weekend. We want to do some outdoor rec events, and you'll begin to hear more about this as we begin to develop this. A couple weeks from now, a bunch of veterans are going rafting. This is something that Upstate Warrior Solution does a lot.
Yeah.
We envision now to say, hey, veterans, we've already got some boats going, and they're veterans. We're going to add a boat or two, and it's going to be Greenville County law enforcement. And what that is doing is creating a bigger network of people who understand each other, like-minded people. Now, maybe somebody went to Iraq and they're back and they're talking to somebody serving in law enforcement, right? The stressors can be the same. The stress of the weight of service can be very heavy. Yeah. And I think that's something that both veterans and first responders can share. And so our hope is to start getting them together more on situations like that. So if you are one of those people listening right now and you're thinking, I don't want to go through my EAP at work. I don't want my supervisor to know because they might hold it against me. We get that. We understand it. Just reach out to Upstate Warrior Solution, get connected with us, and then we can take care of the back-end administrative piece from there.
Yeah. One final thing, and with me today is Theresa Thompson, and we're talking about this new initiative, partnership between LEAD Upstate and Upstate Warrior Solution, Stay With Me Wellness Fund, community support. We mentioned CPI security a minute ago. We have about a minute left, Theresa. If other businesses or individuals want to get involved to support this, how do they do that?
Yeah, so you can reach out. You can find LEAD Upstate. If you go to LEAD Upstate, you can find so many things about us on Facebook, website. You can reach out to Seabrook Marchant. A lot of people know who he is. He is the founder of this program. There's so many people that are part of this. You can reach out to me, Brenda. There's so many people that are part of this. But watch social media. We're starting to on LinkedIn as well. We're also on LinkedIn and Facebook. You'll start to see opportunities and you'll start to see it increase
Yeah.
on what we're doing. But we really need you to be a part of it.
Right.
These officers need to see the community support them
Yep.
if we want them to stay for 25 and 28 years.
Yep. And if you're listening today, you obviously listen to my program. You can always reach out to me as well, joey@joeyhudson.com, and I'll be sure and get you that information. Theresa, it's always a pleasure to have you. Appreciate what you guys are doing at Upstate Warrior Solution and your involvement with Lead Upstate as well. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Email's always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. One of the things that we often talk about on this program is the importance of leadership, not just in elected office, but in our communities, in our schools, and the relationships that shape the next generation. And my guest today has been doing just that for years. She's worked behind the scenes, building connections, strengthening alumni networks, leading community service efforts that make a real difference right here in the Upstate. And now she's stepping into a new chapter, taking that experiencing and putting it on the ballot. Joining us today is Charlianne Nestlen. Charlianne, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm coming in off of a little bit of a cold, so I may sound stuffy, but I'm doing well, and I'm excited to serve my community.
Well, and we have a lot of people right now suffering with allergies and that type of thing, so I certainly understand that. Let's start, Charlianne, with your current role. Tell us about what you do as Director of Alumni Relations and Community Service at USC Upstate, and what that looks like on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so as my position of Director of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving, if you're not familiar with the fundraising world or higher education, those words may be confusing to you, right? So I'm just going to tell you a story that translates to what it is that I do on a daily basis. And it's as simple as this, Joey. I open doors and fight for a way for our students to have the best possible and affordable education as possible. For example, a couple of weeks ago, I took a group of students down to the State House for the South Carolina Commission for Higher Education Day in Columbia. Took them around the State House and was able to introduce them to some of our senior majority members of the House. And they were blown away by our students, okay? They were so prepared. Our students were handed out business cards so proudly that they were students from USC Upstate, wanting to make appointments to have lunch, for mentorship, and any opportunity that they can. And see, our students know, because the majority of them are come from low-income homes, under the poverty level, first generation college student, they know that in order to get above and get to break that generational poverty curse, they are going to have to fight and work for whatever it is that they get. Daddy and Daddy's friends are not going to give them a paid job at the State House, right? They're going to have to earn it. And so our students are, so excited to have these opportunities, and I just help open the doors for that. It's been very interesting. Some of the attacks that have been made on me already by my opponent has said that that's a lobbyist, right?
Yeah.
That's the furthest thing from a lobbyist that you can be. I help mentor students. I help to, again, open pathways for them to make their dreams come true and actually to fulfill the jobs here in our region, nursing, cybersecurity, teachers, the jobs that are going to stay right here in the Upstate. Over 60% of our students graduate and stay here in the Upstate, and over 85% of them stay in the state of South Carolina as a whole. And so providing those opportunities, whether it be funding, scholarship, careers, mentorship, connections, relationships, that's what my role is at the university.
Yeah. And, I'm glad you talked about the importance of alumni relations and building those connections, building those relationships, because, it's really important for these graduates to be engaged and to know that they need to be involved in their community, right?
Absolutely. Networking is the name of the game, and building those relationships not only advance you in your career, but also in your personal life as well. And so anyone who's ever been in sales or any kind of relationship building business, even building trust with your viewers, like, you have to be out there in the community and building those relationships and building that trust. So it's very important for our students to learn that early on. And USC Upstate does a great job of preparing our students for that.
Yeah, well, it's a great school. I'll have to say that many years ago, I'm not going to say how many, but it played a special part in my life. I went to Winthrop. I got my degree in political science there, but I didn't want to hang around for the full 4 years. I was anxious to get out and get started, and so I went to summer school at USC Upstate, and it allowed me to graduate much earlier by going to those classes for 2 summers, and I just really enjoyed being on campus over there, and it's just a special place.
Yeah, and for over 35,000 living alumni who shared that same experience, those are the ones who graduated, not counting the ones who just passed through like you did.
Yeah.
The dual enrollment program with high schools, our honors program, our scholars program that we have through the local high schools as well, and it is just phenomenal, the reach that the university provides for the entire community. People are being touched daily that may not even realize it.
Yeah. My guest today is Charlianne Nestlen. She is Director of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving at the University of South Carolina Upstate. Talk with us about some of the things that you've seen firsthand in our Upstate community, maybe challenges people are facing that maybe don't always make the headlines.
Well, I will tell you, my personal experience in the past 2 years has just really opened my eyes to so many of the issues that I believe my neighbors and our community are facing every day that's not getting the attention it needs. My mom suffered from Parkinson's, and we struggled to find long-term care for her here in our Spartanburg community, much less in the northern part of Spartanburg County, right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist. It's so trying to find a nursing facility for her, and an affordable one at that. The cost for our aging citizens is outrageous. We had to sell everything she owned to get to the point that we could apply for the Medicaid process, so that we could find care for her. And it's not affordable. I mean, we're talking about $6,000 a month out of pocket.
Yeah.
It's just unrealistic for almost any even working family to have to pay for something like that. So dealing with that, my husband battled stage 4 cancer, and he's doing great now. Thank the Lord for that. But what we faced with that, with insurance battles and and care, we had a great team here at Spartanburg Regional, and our community just does not understand how lucky we are that we have the health care that we have in our region. But we had to go to a specialist. We had to go outside the area to find care for him, and it was just burdensome, all the paperwork that we had to do and everything. There has to be a better way. It has to be easier for folks. And we're lucky. We had insurance. For the people who don't, I can't imagine how stressful that was on top of everything else. And then I have a special needs son. He is pretty mainstream, but he does have some issues, and I've had to move him into a public school so that they were able to provide more resources for him. But even then, they're lacking. Our public school systems do not have all the resources that they need to support the children of our community, and someone needs to be fighting for them, and especially in Columbia.
Yeah.
And so I'm ready to do that. And don't get me started on our roads, Joey. Don't get me started. Okay? That is it's just insane how bad our roads are. And I know that there's efforts being made to make it better. But, I'm fired up. The representative in my area that I am, running against has had 10 years of opportunity to fix them. And they're nowhere near any better than what they were 10 years ago. They're even worse. So,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of issues in our community, I feel like, that need to be addressed that we're not talking about. I haven't heard anyone talk about our senior care and what the plan is for our boomers. They're booming right now, and we really need to be thinking about that plan for them.
Yeah. My guest today, Charlianne Nestlen, is Director of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving at the University of South Carolina, Spartanburg. I've been really involved in the community in a lot of different ways, but is now running for public office. She's running for the South Carolina House of Representatives to represent District 38 from Spartanburg County. Let's talk for a minute about your experience in building relationships over the years, serving the community. How has that prepared you for possibly this next step?
Well, it's very interesting. As I was waiting to get on with our interview, I was listening to Charlie James' show, and he had Sheriff Bill Ryan on there. He was talking about leadership Spartanburg and how that had been a really great avenue for them to get some input on some of their committees that they were forming. And, that was something that propelled me in a lot of ways. So being a part of Leadership Spartanburg back in 2015 really helped shape me and learn so much more about our community. And then from there, I ended up going on to become chair of Spartanburg Young Professionals. Which is a great opportunity for our young talent here in Spartanburg to network and to learn more about our community and to build those relationships as well. I've served with the Boy Scouts of America. I actually worked for the Palmetto Council for the Scouts, and that was an amazing way to engage our young people and incredible things that the Scouts do. And from there, and then just so many different avenues where I've been involved. I've served with the Spartanburg Community College Foundation, I've served with the March of Dimes, served with my sorority, Delta Zeta sorority, just all kinds of different ways I've gotten involved over the years. And all of that has just shaped me and introduced me to so many different things in our community, and different people, different mindsets, and just so many different ways that we can, serve our community and build a better place for everyone.
Yeah. Charlianne, you talked earlier about how this campaign is personal to you. And I want to go back and revisit, because you mentioned healthcare. And I've had listeners over the years talk about long waits to see doctors, delays in getting surgery because of a shortage of hospital beds or ORs. And, South Carolina just recently eliminated their certificate of need, which is being phased out over a period of time, which hopefully will open up more competition within the healthcare field. I got real involved in that as an issue on the talk radio side. Talk with us about specific programs that you'd like to work on, that you'd like to see be enacted. I mean, what is the solution for this?
Well, we've got a lot of resources here with the universities, right? That's a big gateway right there for opening up pathways for care. We're in the process of wanting to open up a new nursing building here at USC Upstate that could also serve as a location for physical therapy and other needs like that. And I think that we already have a lot of the tools in place, right? I think that and locations in place. I think we just need to activate them, right? Build those partnerships. I could easily see, we have VCOM and Spartanburg Regional opening up more clinics. We think of the hospital as being the primary area for care, and that's a big reason why there's a shortage of beds and different things like that. Is because people go to the emergency room, for things that probably shouldn't be emergency room related, but because they don't have insurance or other needs, other reasons, that's just where they end up. And so I'd love to see us activating more clinics here and expanding our programming to educate more of our, doctors and that population. We have our first doctorate program at USC Upstate, where they are, educating, nurse practitioners to come out and in public health to come out and serve our community. And so I would love to see those type of programs grow in our area. If you go to where like the medical schools are, right, Charleston and Medical University of South Carolina, everything is affiliated with that, and it's all spread out all over the place, right? And I would love to see more of that here in our area. We have the talent and we have the facilities. We just need to create those partnerships. And so that's where I would like to work on. And then also too, insurance, man. Insurance is just killing South Carolina, right? These partnerships, we dealt with it in my husband's cancer journey, and other people deal with it where you have an insurance company that no longer is working with the hospital system, right? Yeah. And so all of the patients get notified, hey, we're not going to be able to take your insurance anymore, and so you're going to have to find another provider. Well, then, at the 11th hour, they work it out, right? And that was unnecessary stress. They might have already moved practices or anything else like that during that time. Between that and even beyond healthcare, with what's going on with liquor liability and everything else, there just needs to be a lot of more work in the insurance arena as a whole.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it's like the insurance thing. They just use that as a negotiating tool to try to get to the table and get things solved. And it's kind of like cable TV and all with the local affiliates. They do the same thing, but the consumer is the one who stresses out, and they're the ones who worry about it, and it all works out in the end for sure. Charlianne, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and I just wish you luck again. Running for public office is never an easy thing. And I just admire people who step up and put their name on the ballot and get out there and try to help the community. And I wish you luck in the upcoming June 9th primary.
Thank you so much, Joey. It's been a pleasure. I hope that you have a great weekend. You as well. That's it for this special weekend edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.